We're going to hear anything from Weinstein himself, even if they do let him out of the courthouse. You'll hear some moaning and groaning from defense lawyers and some moaning and groaning from the prosecutors, but I think they will argue, hey, we got him off the streets, he can't do this again.
All right, the verdict has been reached. Judge Andrew Napolitano, Alex Hogan's at the courthouse. We are going to have continuing coverage of this breaking news story on Harvey Weinstein. We'll be back in just a moment.
24th, 2020, 52 minutes, 42 seconds.
Part of Los Angeles trying to decide who will have custody over Harvey Weinstein because LA wants to try this case, which is scheduled for next month, and they want to get it over with. And New York wants Weinstein behind bars, and they want him behind bars permanently, and they want that to start this afternoon. So that's what the negotiation will probably be in the next few hours.
Judge, thank you for that timeline. I know I was asking the reporter about that because I was curious to know, will he be sitting in jail until they send him to Los Angeles? And you've helped to answer some of that question. So we knew on Friday, and actually as early as Thursday, that the jurors might want to hear again, or the courtroom might want to hear again from Annabella Sciorra. That's the actress that you're talking about. What were they specifically looking for? Because when we got word that they were deadlocked on those last two charges, or it would appear maybe even three of them, I was wondering, what are they listening for? Because her case, you're right, it couldn't be adjudicated. We're beyond the statute of limitations, aren't we?
Yes, well beyond the statute of limitations. So what they asked for was not her direct examination by the prosecutor, but the cross-examination of her by Weinstein's lawyers. That's very unusual that the jurors would just ask for the cross. They usually either ask for the direct so they can hear the story told again, or they ask for both. When they're asking for just the cross-examination, that tells me that they doubted her testimony, they wanted to hear the cross-examination again to reinforce those doubts, and now we know that the doubts were of such a magnitude that they found him not guilty.
Judge, what happens next for him? I mean, you see him, he walks into the courtroom, and you can speak to the issue, we're not doctors, but he walks into the courtroom on a walker. How much of that then determines whether he spends a little time outside of jail or goes immediately to jail? Just from the judge's standpoint, what do they usually look at?
I don't think the judge will be concerned about whether or not that walker is real and what the condition of his back problems might be. The crime for which he was convicted is extremely grave. It's rape in the first degree. It's 20 years. For a guy who's in his mid to late 60s, you're talking about perhaps a life sentence because it's going to be a minimum of 15 years. And somewhere within those 15 years, he's going to confront justice in LA, and of course we have no way of knowing what the outcome of that would be. Their penalty system is nearly identical to New York's.
You know, you heard our reporter, and we've been saying it since the story broke in different ways in the last 20 minutes or so, that this is such a huge deal to the #MeToo movement. How so when you look at this legally? What precedents does this set?
I don't think it sets a precedent, regrettably. It would have set a precedent had he been convicted on those new statutes, the sexual predatory statutes. However, it does give cover and ground for those who have been abused and victimized in a criminal way to come forward to prosecutors. That even though the prosecutors lost what they really wanted to win, they did an extraordinary job in this case in challenging one of the most powerful people in Hollywood on some of the most grave crimes short of murder that's imaginable. And they got enough of a conviction to keep him off the street for nearly the rest of his life.
Look at it through the lens of both teams here for a second, Judge. We know we're going to hear from the district attorney, Cy Vance, in a short time. He's going to come to those microphones, and when that happens, we're certainly going to take it live. I imagine he's going to say, this was a great victory for the district attorney's office. I don't know if you share that conviction, given they only got a conviction on 2 out of 5, but still it was 2, and like you said, he's going to go to jail for at least 15 years. At the same time, his defense attorneys may be telling him, well, obviously you didn't get off, but you dodged a lot of bullets here. We did a really good job. What do you think? What's your opinion?
Well, my opinion is the government did the right thing. Look, these novel statutes that give the government new tools, they don't often always work the first time you use it. And it's a judgment call. Should we use this new tool, this new predatory statute? Is this the case in which to do it? I mean, if we don't do it, it's going to look like we're afraid to go after a big name guy. If we do it and lose, it's going to be more difficult to do this in the future. This is the type of thing that goes to the head of a prosecutor when deciding what to ask a grand jury to indict for. Add to that no police testified in this case. My God, the police, the NYPD investigated Weinstein for years. Why were none of them called to testify? Did they have doubts about this?
Why do you think that is?
I don't know the answer to that, and it's going to some reporter's going to catch up with a detective in a pub.
Well, they will now because maybe they're watching.
Right. However, the bottom line is this was a serious professional prosecution that resulted in the conviction of formerly one of the most powerful people in Hollywood, who will probably not see the light of day again as a result of this verdict today.
Judge, I'm going to ask you to sit by. Please don't get up because I want to bring in someone I know you know well, former federal prosecutor Doug Burns. Doug, you're with us now. And at some point you may even see all three of us on the screen because I'd love for you guys to talk to each other about this. Sure. So we're about to hear from the Manhattan District Attorney, Cy Vance. And I'm curious, what do you anticipate we will hear about this case?
Well, the judge laid it all out beautifully, and the point is, sometimes there's a disconnect, and I think the judge was implying this, between, he was only convicted of a few counts, but the reality is, as